Bonjour class, today we're learning a new verb called aller. By the end of today's lesson, you should be able to know a little bit about the definition and conjugation of the verb aller, the use in the present tense, the use in a new tense called le futur proche, and then the preposition a. This is obviously not exactly related to the verb aller because they are different parts of speech, but they go hand in hand. So you'll really need to know this preposition to be able to use the verb correctly. So these are the 4 things that you should know by the end of today's lesson. Starting off, the verb aller, and just a side note, we want to remember with the pronunciation in French, the ER at the end of the word makes it sound more like AY, A. It's not aller, it's aller. This is an irregular verb, so although it ends in ER, it is not conjugated like a regular ER verb. Just like être and avoir, you need to memorize the conjugation for this one. It means to go in English. The conjugation is je vais, which means I go, tu vas, which means you go, il or elle va, which can mean he, she, or it goes, nous allons, which means we go, vous allez, you go, and we remember vous is going to be used for you in situations that are formal or plural. And then il or elles vont means they go. So it's really important. This one can be tricky because only nous and vous, those are the only 2 conjugations, allons and aller, that look kind of like the infinitive aller. The rest start with V. Ve, va, va, vont. And just a side note, these 2 are pronounced the same way. Tu vas is pronounced the same way as il or elle va. This is not tu vas, just va. So to use it in the present tense, you can say that you're going somewhere, and to do that you would need the following in your sentence. You'd put the subject, so I, you, we, he, whatever, plus the correct conjugation of aller, and then you need the preposition a, which we'll learn about later, and the place name. This is new vocabulary that we'll be learning in class this week and practicing a lot of. So for example, you could say je vais à PMA. We always need this preposition afterward, and that would mean I go to PMA. So pretty straightforward. The key is just memorizing that conjugation of aller. Use in le futur proche. This is something new. The futur proche means the near future. And you use it to say that you are going to do something. So this is very close. This is coming up. So you could say, after class, I'm going to go to my locker. That is the near future because you are going to do it immediately after you say that statement, more or less. And to use it, you conjugate the verb aller, because if you say I'm going, that'd be je vais, so you're conjugating the verb aller, and then you put the infinitive of what you are going to do after. So a reminder that the infinitive is the complete form of the verb. You don't change anything from it. You keep the ER ending, the IR ending, or whatever ending it has. So for example, if I say je vais étudier, that means I am going to study. Because am going, you say vais. And to study, because we have that to in front of it, we know it's the infinitive form. And so that's why we leave étudier as the complete verb. So je vais étudier means I'm going to study. And then lastly, we've already taken a look at the preposition a. The preposition a means to, at, or in. So most of the time when we're using it with aller, it'll mean to. And sometimes it contracts with other definite articles. There's a lot of fancy words here. We know that contract means you combine 2 words to make a slightly different words. Like for example, in English, if we have and not, we contract those 2 words to say haven't. Or you could say I wasn't. Wasn't is a contraction of was and not. Same thing in French. If you have a and le, you contract it to make o. If you have a and le, you contract it to make o, pronounced the same way, just spelled with an X at the end. But if you have a and then la, you don't contract those 2. That stays the same, a la. So for example, if you're trying to say I go to the museum, or I'm going to the museum, it would be je vais à le musée. Technically correct, you're putting it in piece by piece because musée is masculine, so it would be le musée, but this is not your final answer. It's kind of like in math when you have to simplify fractions or simplify your response in numerical form. Here we would simplify it in French by combining a and le to make the contraction o, so it becomes je vais au musée. When you see this word au, you know that it really means a and le, so to the, and it just combines into one word there. And that's the end. We'll be practicing this more in class. Let me know if you have any questions.